Hey, this is Ryan, and welcome to another Off the Mat with my special guest, Kylie Rook. Thank you so much for joining us today, Kylie. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for
Yeah,
having me on.
absolutely. So I'm so excited because you've been a pastor in the program of the Mastermind program, and for you, a central focus, was creating online classes. That was something that you were really, really interested in, and it's just so heartwarming to see that you've continued on with that and actually really built something that's really awesome. So we're going to kind of dive into creating online classes today and kind of get your take on it, technology wise, struggles, triumphs, everything in between. So what I'd like to start with is, a big part of becoming successful on this path is to figure out who you love to serve, and what I've affectionately called your perfect client. So I'm curious, like when you started and you were doing your perfect client questionnaire, how easy or how difficult was that process for you? Did it take some time to figure it out?
It was difficult, definitely difficult. It took me a while to, first of all, create my vision. Like, I think I had 3 and probably lots of hair pulling. And then once I had that, then creating the client was also hard, because I had this whole thing that I just wanted to include everybody, and that
Yes.
whole, I don't want to exclude anyone. And so it was hard. And then when I started to kind of hone in on, okay, what do I like to teach? Who do I like to teach? All of that. Then it started to become clearer. And I think it still is evolving, because I was still probably a little bit broad with what I, first thought was my perfect client. And now it's starting to kind of really concentrate in, which is
Sure.
really cool. But yeah, I had to kind of go from here and then sort of get to here. And now I feel like I'm coming like right down to
Yeah.
the nitty gritty of it, if you like.
Well, that's
But yeah,
helpful.
I was like for a long time.
That's helpful though, because a lot of people do have a lot of issues with, kind of coming into figuring out who your perfect client is, and having to narrow that down, because it feels like, oh, well, I still enjoy working with these people and I enjoy working with these people and I don't want to give that up. No one says you have to give that up. It
No.
just simply means that, in your conversations, in your marketing, it speaks directly to who you really love to work with. And other people will still show up. But it's still a lot more fun when the people that you really, really love to work with and that need that knowledge. And good Lord, Kylie, you got some knowledge on you, girl. I mean, every time that I turn around, you're in a new training. Like, you do love to learn more about the path. And I'm constantly, really, really amazed by just the knowledge that you have. So you're saying that you're still honing in on that perfect client, which is good, because you started here and you're still continuing to narrow down. Tell me, what was it about creating like an online yoga studio, creating online classes, that was like the biggest appeal to you?
Well, that's also quite a funny story, because initially I was like, why would anybody want to do yoga with me online? And Ryan and I had many conversations about this during the program. And I was like quite, I guess, anti it. Well, not anti it, but I was like, there's so much free yoga, and there's Yoga Glow, and there's this and there's that. Why would anybody want to actually pay to do classes with me online? And then once I kind of got through that barrier and realized that it was actually a really viable option for me. I mean, I don't have the funds to go out and purchase a studio. And also a lot of the things that I do in terms of workshops are around New Zealand. So I wanted to be able to reach those people that I go out and run workshops with as well, from my base in Auckland. So the appeal of not just being here in Auckland, but, a little bit wider,
Sure.
for New Zealand and then globally, that was definitely enticing. And so financially it kind of made a little bit more sense. And then actually once I started to record the classes, I realized that I actually liked it and was good at it. And, I was kind of like a one-take wonder. I could do an entire class and not make a mistake, which meant that it cut down on the editing time. And so I was like, okay, maybe I can do this.
Maybe there's something here.
Maybe there's something here. And so there was a lot of kind of roadblocks that I put in the way. And then, once I kind of went, just take that leap, go for it. Then, it started to actually unfold. And, when I found Namastream, which you put me onto, I don't know, it just felt right. Like a lot of the times in my life, I have kind of felt like it was the right thing to do, and then kind of talked myself out of things, and then
almost the mastermind program.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was like the first time that I was kind of like, stop talking yourself out of it, go with your instinct, and just take that jump. And I'm so glad I did, because Namastream is great. The support that they offer is great. The training that they offer has been fantastic. And the actual site itself is really user friendly. It's been a godsend, really.
Well, hey, you brought up a really good point, in the sense of like, a lot of people are like, there's Yoga Glow, there's all these other membership sites that are really, really high quality video, and I'm dipping my toes in, and trying to start all this. Like, it can feel very intimidating. You see, again, these big name brand online yoga studios, and you're just like, how can I compete with that? Well, there's your students like you. They want to connect with you. Once you've made that connection with them, then they want to connect with you more. It's not so much just about the video quality. They want to connect with their teacher. They want to connect with the individual.
Exactly. And that was a thing that I hadn't realized, that there would be so many people that were like, awesome, you're doing online stuff. That means when I go on holiday, I can still practice with you. Or if I can't come into the studio, I can still practice with you. And I was kind of like, oh, wow, really? That's so cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, because the thing is that what I find is that a lot of us we know we're good teachers. We have students come up to us and tell us that they love our classes. But for some reason, when it comes time to putting ourselves online, it's just like for some reason that extra step, like, oh, well, but you wouldn't want to look at me online. You just like to come to my classes. No, they just want us in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So tell me about, getting started teaching, like, what did you start off with? Were you using like an iPhone? Were you using a video camera, like mics, lighting? Tell me how kind of you started with all that.
Yep. So my first classes that I recorded, because once I decided, okay, I'm going to do this, I was just like, right, just take the jump, try something. So I just had my iPhone and I had a tripod. So I just set it up and recorded. And so the first few classes that I had were really shitty sound quality, because I didn't have a proper mic and all the rest of it. And I just kind of recorded it, put it up on YouTube, sent a link out to people saying, hey, I'm testing the waters. What do you think about this kind of thing? And like, looking back, they were pretty shit quality, and people still loved them. And then I was like, okay, time to invest some money now. I did a lot of research into, the best kind of mic to get. And I ended up going with it's a Rode mic that has like a little fluffy attachment to it, so you could shoot outside if you wanted to. But you can also run a cable, so I can actually hook it into my iPhone, and I run the cable, and it sits just out off camera, right in front of my mat, so that it can pick up.
That's a lav. Is that a lav mic?
No, it's not. So I tried a lav mic. But because I move around a lot, my arm moves around a lot, like recorded this whole class. It was like awesome. Put it in, plugged it in to listen to it right at the end, because there was a lot of like moving of my arms around to get into binds. It was like, and then I was like, oh, you're freaking kidding me. That's a 25-minute class, and the last portion of it is not usable because you can't hear what I'm saying over this crunchy sound. So that's when I was like, maybe the lav mic doesn't work so well for me. I've recorded for SomaFit, and they use a lav mic. And that worked okay, but they were only like 5 or 10 minute kind of portions, and there wasn't a lot of arm movement or, you know, binding or anything like that. So it was fine. So I found definitely for the type of classes that I was doing, and if you're wanting to move your arms a little bit more and have that freedom, then the Rode mic that just attaches into your iPhone, or probably into your iOS if you've got a not iOS, your, you know, Samsung or whatever, and then you just run a long cable along the floor. So it can either, you know, stick right in here, or you run the cable and then you just put it just out of view. So I recorded with that, which had really good sound quality, and then you can adjust the sound, so you can turn it up
right
a bit louder to get better quality.
So I thought a lav mic, I mean, like, first off, like, I've told a lot of people that you know what, I'll just grab it right now. This is, you know, a smartphone tripod where you just like put your smartphone in here. Yeah.
Yep.
And I use a Samsung Galaxy 4, and they're like on a Samsung Galaxy 8 now. So like, obviously I'm using an older phone. I think it's HD, or it's pretty high quality video even for a Samsung Galaxy 4. And I tell people, and I put this in the training on how to create online classes, was, you know, the video that you have now is, you know, on your phone is even 10 times better than what it used to be 15 years ago.
Absolutely.
So, you know, we don't necessarily have to have all of these different, you know, high quality, like 4K video recording, all these different like high tech, you know, recording devices. We can simply use a smartphone and be just fine. Yeah. So what are you using your smartphone? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. So I ended up, once I decided, look, I think I'll just stick with the smartphone, because I had an older version iPhone. So I just upgraded to the 6S and recorded on that. And, you know, I was pretty happy with the quality. I mean, you don't get the same depth of field that you could with a, you know, a camera. But, you know, it still shoots in 4K. So, you know, it's got the pixels there if you want. You can zoom in if you want. And then we were going to Iceland. And so I was like, I'm going to buy a really good camera, duty free, and that'll be my new one that I record with.
Okay.
And also, you know, we could take pictures of Iceland and, you know, record some videos while we were in Iceland for the site. Big dreams. And bought this camera, which the guy at the camera store was like, this is what all the vloggers are using. This is what everybody on YouTube is using. This is great because you turn the thing around, you can see what you're shooting, blah, blah, blah. Shoot, you know, big spiel. I was like, awesome. Got it. Came home to record my first class, and it cut out after 7 minutes. I was like, what? What do you mean 7 minutes? I can't do like 7-minute chunks of a class. That's ridiculous. So then I did a bit of research, and it turns out anything that is a camera, so even if it's a DSLR camera, you know, Sony, Panasonic, whatever, in order for it to still be classed as a camera and not a video recorder, it will only record for a certain length of time. So the more expensive cameras, like the $5,000 ones, they'll record for maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Yeah. So here's the thing, it records, so basically the camera has an inbuilt memory, if you like.
Yeah.
And it records onto that and then transfers it onto your memory stick. I didn't know this until I was trying to create online classes. So what it does is it kind of fills up and then transfers. Most people probably don't record 75 minutes in a row or an hour in a row. So they probably have never realized this. Or if you're using it as a video camera, you're doing one take. Let's do a take again. Let's do a take again. And like most takes are probably under 15 minutes, if that.
Sure.
Yeah. So then
oh my gosh.
Right. Okay. So that's not going to work. So the next best option is a video camera. However, most of the video cameras that are out these days are still only shooting 1920 by 1080, so HD. I think there's a couple of that have just been released that are maybe 4K, but they're a little bit more expensive. And there's no guarantee that it's going to be any better than shooting 4K.
That's crazy.
Isn't that Madness.
And the thing is that the phone is so small. Like, I mean, I actually, there's, I'm almost 100% sure. I don't know why that phrase that way. It was like 60 Minutes. They were going over the iPhone and they were talking about how there's 350 different parts just inside the camera.
Whoa.
Just inside the camera. Like, unreal. Like, so, I mean, that's really, I did not know that basically even buying a video camera, like you might be able to get a 4K camera these days, but our phones already have that. Why try to make it even harder?
Yeah, so, exactly. So I learned that, you know, if you want to be able to record and like just keep it running, you're not going to do multiple takes and then stitch it together, then you're better off just having a really decent smartphone. And then there's an app that you can buy called Filmic Pro. I think it's about $20. And that gives you the ability to adjust the aperture and the focus. So it turns it into a kind of DSLR kind of. So.
And you said that was Filmic Pro?
Filmic, Filmic.
Okay.
And Pro.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've used that a couple of times. The only downside I found with it is that, you know, like it's great. You can record all different frame rates. You can adjust. I'm just looking at it now to tell you a little bit more about it. It basically turns your camera into more or less a DSLR. However, when I pull it into Davinci to do my editing, the sound slips out of sync. And I haven't worked out why. And I think it's something to do with Davinci recognizing the file format that it comes in as. Because when you view it just as a quick time before you pull it into Davinci, everything's in sync. But as soon as you pull it into Davinci, it just slides ever so slightly out of sync. So, yeah.
So Davinci is an editing software?
It's an editing software. So there's various options available editing wise. I went with Davinci because it's pretty easy to use. It's free, which is great.
Yeah.
And you can color grade in it as well. So if your lighting isn't quite right, or, you know, something hasn't quite worked out in the filming of it, you can just ever so slightly tweak the colors. And then you can do the whole, editing, grading, exporting in the one thing, and it has all the settings all kind of preset, but then you can also adjust them. It's a lot easier, I found, to use than the Movie Maker or whatever the one is that you get with your Mac and Final Cut Pro and those kind of things. But, you know, everybody has ways of, and it's free, yeah. So
let's go from start to finish. So you used your iPhone 6 to record your classes. You use what is the name of the microphone that you use?
A Rode, Rode microphone.
And that's where it plugs into like the audio jack and then runs like along the floor and then has like a little ball of a microphone that's near you.
It's actually just a little stick. And then if you wanted to shoot outside, it's got a big fluffy head that attaches on it.
Okay, so it's
literally the size of my finger kind of thing.
Okay, so it's not like here's the phone filming you and there's like a cord down that goes down to the floor and runs to you. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like a little mini kind of extender cord, if you like.
Okay.
Yeah, like that whole setup, because mics can be really expensive. That whole setup, I think, was $99 New Zealand. So $50 for you, I guess, in the States.
How much did you say it was? 69?
99.
99. You guys are worth that much more money than we are. That's the conversion. $19 in New Zealand is worth $50 here.
I know that, yeah, but then there's like shipping, because obviously the Rode mic hasn't been made in New Zealand. It's been made somewhere else and shipped to New Zealand. And then I bought it from a store, so I'm paying.
Gotcha, more retail.
Blah, blah, blah. So I'd say you'd get a lot cheaper.
Okay. And you use a smartphone tripod as well?
Use a smartphone tripod. And then I went out and invested in lights, proper like umbrella stand lighting.
Right.
That each has like a 4 coily light bulb thingies in it. Technical term.
Really technical. Really technical. Well, the one, I'll just knock it down. The smartphone tripod that I got was only like $13 or maybe $15 at the most. That's on Amazon, and that includes shipping.
The house is the same.
Yeah.
From Amazon. So
and
perfectly fine.
So your phone, the mic, the tripod, and then the lighting kit. I mean, you can buy. Honestly, you can Google do-it-yourself like lighting kits. I just didn't want to put in the time, to be honest. So I just paid like $50 on Amazon for a lighting kit, and it came with 2 lights, that would shine straight on me. Do you remember how much you paid?
It was a little bit more than that. I did a lot of Googling, like looking at different lighting stands on Amazon and looking at different YouTube videos on the best things and how to light and blah, 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 blah. And then I just kind of was like, oh my God, I'm so confused. I need to see these things in front of me and actually see the light. So we ended up going to a camera and lighting store in Auckland and actually chatting with the guy about it. And it was really helpful because, I told him what I was trying to do, what we were trying to achieve. And at that point, I had been like, oh, I'm going to get the LED lights. The LED lights, there's these really cool ones and they're flat, blah, blah,
You did get one, right? Didn't you get a flat LED? Because I remember it was a really...
Well, in the end, we were there and he was like, so these are the LED ones. Tried to turn them on. They didn't turn on. He's like, oh, I'll just get another one. And then he turned it on and he was like, yeah, so this is one of the problems with the LEDs is that once they run out, they kind of run out. And I was like, oh, really? You can't replace them? He's like, not really, no. And I was like, okay, can you show me the other options then? So then he showed me the umbrella stands with and they're quite big. And then I spoke to him about the best lighting options, and he said, if you're shooting and you want a daytime look, these are the best ones to achieve that. So
okay. And do you remember the name by any chance? What you got? I'll tell you what. When
send you all the information.
Send me the information. I'll put it inside the form for people to see inside the training. So then let me ask you this. So you got through the technology part, you started recording, so tell me what has been like the most fun about this whole process of creating online classes for you?
The most fun. Actually, can we just backtrack? The other thing I did buy was a background because
you did.
I was shooting in my house, and it's basically just quite an ugly door behind me.
It's not that ugly. I know. I remember it. It's not that ugly.
My husband ended up Googling and finding this place on Amazon that does really cool backdrops. So you can get beach scenes and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
The tree
for like $20 to $30. Nothing that expensive.
No, it wasn't. The most expensive thing was the shipping. But it just made such a difference to the quality, how the videos looked. And eventually we want to have something that's actually even better and covers the whole back, but baby steps.
Baby steps, yeah, for sure.
So the most fun, I guess part of the fun of it was actually, it was something that my husband and I were getting into together because he's also works in a similar industry to me. So, we kind of had fun working out what we were going to get and how we were going to do it. And that was great. It was, brought us together in that sense. And then I guess I actually just really enjoy teaching, and I really enjoy being able to create something that people can then go back and, use again and again. Because a lot of the time I teach a class for a week, say, and that's it. That class is gone.
Yeah.
And then, I might look back at my notes and I'm like, what do I mean by that? Oh, well, on to the next, I very much create I don't make it up on the spot, but I create based on what's happening with the seasons, what's happening in the room, what's happening in the world. So it's very much a fluid, process. It's not like, okay, this week we are focusing on this part of the body.
Yeah.
This part of it. It's, so from that point of view, it's kind of cool because it's meant that I've got this library of all the classes that I've
Exactly. You have now assets in your business because you can take those classes and you can use them for in all different types of promotions. If you're promoting a workshop, if you're promoting a retreat, just you have these assets, these things that you can draw back from, you know, again and again and again. So absolutely, absolutely. And still, I mean, it's a way for your students to plug in and see you if they can't come to, you know, come to see you all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's really cool. You know, your husband and you kind of came together, and I see that happen a lot with people that go through the program. Is, you know, their husband is kind of like interested in, like, you know, maybe building a YouTube channel, or, you know, helping with the recording, or maybe doing some editing. Or it's a great way to get closer to the partner through an opportunity like this. So tell me, like, what changes have you made since you first started? Like, what significant changes have you made since you first started recording online classes? Some kind of advice or, you know, tips that you could give some of the people at
home? Yeah, I guess the biggest ones would have been the lighting and the sound. Definitely invest in that. Camera, not such a biggie. You know, I fell down the trap when I first started creating it. I was trying to make really big, you know, 4 gigabyte files, and then try and upload them to namastream, and it was breaking it. And I was like, why is it not working? And they were like, they're only supposed to be, you know, to maximum 2,500 kilobits per second kind of thing. So I was like, oh, and that's the other thing. Like, you make these whizzy big, you know, 4K files, but at the end of the day, it's going to be compressed down.
Right.
Whatever platform, whether it's YouTube or whatever, to record on. So as long as your instructions are clear, people can hear you. They're probably not going to be looking at you too much because they're going to be doing the practice with you, unless they've decided to sit down and eat popcorn while they watch.
Which is slightly weird, but maybe they get something from that.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point, that people are not necessarily going to be watching you the whole time. So don't feel so subconscious, because they're going to be going through the poses that you're telling them to go through.
Exactly. Also, like in the beginning, I was like, oh, it has to be like a 60-minute class, or it has, you know, I was trying to create decent chunks. And then I was like, actually, no, it doesn't. It could be a 5-minute breathing exercise or a 5-minute meditation, because sometimes that's all people have time for, and at least then they've got something in their day. It doesn't have to be this massive class. And from like a filming perspective, that's great, because it means that, you know, some weekends, like I set myself a goal that every weekend I would record a class no matter what, so that I could keep updating and putting a new class out every week. Doesn't kind of work if you're away for workshops. So then I was like, aha, need to be able to create, you know, 3 or 4 classes on the bounce that then I can have sitting waiting to release. You don't want to be doing 3 60-minute classes, recording 3 60-minute or 75-minute classes every weekend. You know, recording 3 10-minute practices, or so, is much more achievable. So I think I've kind of, you know, like, realize that my expectations are up here, but most people are not expecting this. It's just me that's expecting this. So it's, you know, realizing what's achievable, what people are, you know, namastream's great. I can go in and see the most watched videos, so I get to know my clients even better and go, aha, so they're actually liking these shorter flows, or they're liking, you know, this flow that's for people who sit a lot. So then I can create more classes that are in line with that. So that's another really cool diagnostic tool that you get with the namastream platform, is being able to see what people are engaging with, and who's using it, how often they use it.
namastream
helps you to hone in even more.
Yeah, so I think I was watching like it was some type of like webinar with namastream, and they were saying that the actually like 30-minute classes was the most popular.
Yep.
It was like 30 minutes and then 45 minutes, I think. And definitely the 30 minutes was, you know, much more even popular than the 45 minutes. So, and that's so true. I mean, because when you have 60 minutes and you have, you know, now you're lining up more with the time that you have to go to a studio.
Yeah.
When you're doing it at home, like, you know, people do want probably something a little bit shorter. So that's a really, really good insight. what would you say, like, like thinking about now moving forward, do you have anything new on the horizon that with the online studio, or any new offerings that you're thinking about trying out?
Yep. So I've still got so I really want to create, so at the moment I've got the monthly membership, and then I've got the Budokan package, and then I've just got like a monthly free class. So I wanted
What
to
is Budokan? Budokan?
Budokan, yeah. So that's the clip that you posted,
Yes.
advertised.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, so that's like a separate package. So you just pay a one-off fee, and you get the 17 videos, and they unlock as you do the one before it. So what
Very
I'm
cool.
planning to do moving forward is create more little packages like that, where it's just, one-off fee, you pay that money, and then you get access to these videos.
Like a
And what I
class
actually
series.
want, yeah,
Class series.
yeah, is actually combine it with some of my private clients, because I was saying to you the other day, the interesting thing is, once I released the online platform, my private client base actually started to increase as well. So people were kind of seeing me online and then going, oh, I want to actually do a private with you, or I want to learn how to do that better, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of a way of creating like a signature package gift for my private clients. So they pay X amount for however many sessions with me, which includes access to a group of videos, so that they've got like homework stuff that they can do at home. Because a lot of the private clients that I'm attracting are kind of, I guess, 40 plus. They have started to get aches and pains, or back injuries, that kind of thing, and so they're needing to peel it right back, work on their breathing, work on the connection to their core, really simple stuff. So yeah, I'm thinking that it will be like a package for more like a yoga therapy type situation for private clientele. So
Very
that's
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, very cool. So namastream allows you to not only just, house online classes, but then also to create a class series that once you watch a class, the next one will release, and then the next one will release.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Which is very cool. Yeah, which is what I like about using it with my private clients, is it means that I can set, you need to do this video 6 times before the next one opens, so that I know that they really understand how to use their diaphragm, or how to, before the next one opens. And, in between that time, they'll have sessions with me, so that we can double check that, yes, that's happening. They're doing their homework and that kind of thing. So,
and that's a tremendous value for your private clients to be able to have those online classes in addition to working with you privately. That's fantastic. Like, I know that you had gotten in at like a special with namastream, at one point. Isn't it? So it's something like, what was it, between $99 and $130 a month is where it kind of starts out at, I think, something like that.
Oh, do you know? I actually don't know, because when I was listening to their spiel, it was sign up for 2 years.
That's what you say about me, probably. Oh, I listened to his spiel and I became one of his coaching clients.
But yeah, so I listened to their
webinar.
Webinar, yeah. And at the time it was like 2 years. You signed up for 2 years. You got access to the VIP Soulful MBA. You got 5 books that they recommend reading. You got access to a Facebook ads webinar series. There was a couple of other add-ons, and then it was like, and if you sign up today, it's $2,000, but you have only 30 minutes. And then like the timer down, and I sat there going, husband, should I do this? Couldn't get hold of him. I was like, shit, what do I do? The timer's going down. Is it the best thing to do? And that's where that moment where I was like, am I talking myself out of this? Bye. And then I went, shit, what have I done? And then, yeah, it was fine. But yeah, I had this whole like, it sounds like a good deal, but is it a good deal? I don't know.
Well, I mean, listen, like what you signed up for, I'm sure is probably, gone at this point. And what I'm just trying to give people is a realistic perspective of what the pricing for the program is, because I think, actually here I'm on namastream right now. I just want to give people an idea. And let me ask you, did you look at any other options?
I did, but not, probably not as much as I should. I looked into Powwow or Powwow or whatever it's called. And I looked, because obviously I could have just done the same on YouTube, created a YouTube channel, and, you know, the problem with just doing it on YouTube is it's a lot harder to, well, it's not a lot harder. I mean, you can still create a paid platform on YouTube and Vimeo. But people have to go in and then search for you. Whereas namastream looks like my website. When you click on my namastream site, it looks like my website. I'm not going to Powwow and then searching Kylie, or YouTube and then searching Kylie, which, by the way, if you do that, you get Kylie Jenner, not Kylie Yoga with Kylie. So I'm not famous enough for YouTube.
Well, and people can get like distracted, you know, people can get distracted, and there's a, you know, there's ads, and when someone actually like types in like yoga videos or something like that, or even Kylie Rook Yoga, there probably will be another advertisement for yoga that will come up, because that's what it's meant to do. I mean, I've done that many times where I searched for one company and then got an ad for their competitor, you know, even though I reached their page. But anyways, it looks like for teachers, it's $125 a month for it's like 2,000 live streaming minutes. And then if you want to create, I guess I don't understand if you were a studio, gym, or clinic and want to offer multiple instructors, that makes sense. You can add up to 15 instructors in your site. Okay, so that's $179 where it starts at a month. Well, anyways, I've just, listen, there's definitely some cost to it, but I think what you get out of it in return, you get what you pay for. You know, it's great really, support.
I mean, Sandy and Jenny have been awesome. They're the founders of it. Like right from the get-go, you know, if you email them, they'll email you back. And even now that they're getting bigger and bigger and they actually have a support center, you'll still get an email from them to help with any issues down here in New Zealand, because we didn't have Stripe for a while. So I was
interesting.
Using PayPal, and then I had issues with PayPal not working properly. And now that I've switched over to Stripe, because we can now have it, you know, it's working a lot better. So from the support side of things, and just the fact that you can make it look like your website, you know, it can have your own colors and branding and everything like that. And then
very cool.
You know, you shop part of it. And in my shop, there's 3 packages available at the moment. You can also do audio things. You can do PDF. I think probably the same as Powerhouse. So you can create like whole packages where it's, you know, maybe an eating plan with your videos, with the audio, yada, yada, yada.
I remember that. Yeah, they allow you to do things like put like ebooks and things of that nature in addition to the classes to add that. That's fantastic. Well, listen, I thank you so much for your time. I just, before we end, I mean, I do want to ask you the last question. Like, if you have someone who's just starting from scratch and you were just to kind of give them some overall arching advice for someone who's getting started, what would be some tips that you would give them? Just, and maybe this is just in summary of stuff we've already discussed, but what tips would you give someone who wants to start this out for the first time?
Probably that you don't need to spend heaps of money on a flash camera. You just need a tripod, you need a microphone. And even to begin with, you don't even need lights if you're shooting, you know, with a lot of window and daylight around. So you can start off pretty cheaply. And I know for me, what helped was actually just doing it. Just like stop checking yourself about what could go wrong and that it's not as good, and stop comparing. Like, definitely stop comparing your videos to everybody else's. And I still do that sometimes. I'm like, oh, but theirs is so much better. And,
but they're not you.
But they're not me.
And that's what your students want.
Yeah, you just got to realize that they're not you, and your students are wanting you. And just be yourself. Be your authentic self. I'm not trying to be Yoga Glow. I'm not trying to be Cody app or anything like that. I'm just being me. And then, and when you're actually recording the class, talk to the camera like it's your student, so that there's that connections so that they actually feel. I've had a lot of people who do the classes with me go, oh, it's just like being in your class, like you're exactly the same as you are in class. It's so cool. So,
that is cool. You know, and so what I mean, if I was to add just anything to that is getting like if you're going to use your smartphone, which obviously we've kind of from this discussion highly recommend doing. But in addition to that, getting a smartphone tripod. So you really that was good advice in terms of you might not need a lighting kit, you know, depending upon what time of the day that you're going to be recording. So start out with the bare minimum. Start off with just getting like your smartphone and maybe a tripod and just film yourself and see how the audio is and see how the video is. And then if you don't like how the audio is, then maybe you go ahead and get a Rode mic. If you really, really don't like your background, maybe you get like a background screen, which honestly, from what I've seen on from Amazon, at least here in the US, it's anywhere from $12 to $30 for a decent one.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, I mean, to me, when I actually recorded the Global Yoga Teacher Challenge, I literally just had a lamp and I took the lamp shade off of it and just put it near my face so that it was lighting up.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like out of this world, like, you know, so just start off with, I think, the bare minimum of a tripod and your phone and then go from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, listen, Kylie, thank you so much for coming on. I mean, it's always a treat to connect with you again. And I mean, I know you're very, very modest and humble, but you are an amazing teacher. I mean, it's so graceful to watch you teach. And Budokan? How do you say it? Is that Budokan?
Budokan, yeah.
It's almost like Buddha and like Khan?
Well, it's actually O, so DOKAN.
Budo.
Yeah.
Budokan.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, it was beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It's like, you know, Bruce Lee doing yoga, combining it with his martial arts. It's really beautiful. Well, thank you so much I mean, this is incredibly helpful for a lot of people who are starting out and want to do online classes and are just intimidated, you know? So really great advice. Thank you so much, Kylie, again, for your time. And I'm sure in the future we'll have you again because you're awesome.
Thank you.
All right, Kylie, you have a great rest of the day and we'll be talking to you soon.
Cool. See you.
Bye-bye.